confident in every area of your life. Don't allow anyone to intimidate you.
Welcome back to another episode of Unpacking True Purpose. In this episode, we're going to be talking about tuning out the noise. Like, how do you stay true to yourself with all the distractions around? So we're going to be touching base on that and sharing a little nuggets here and there of how you can navigate that in this digital world. So I'm going to leave it open to amazing ladies here to talk about that.
So first, I think it's good if we actually define what are the distractions, what are the noise, right? Because someone watching is like, well, what is a distraction? Or what could be a noise, right? And I think a distraction could be anything that's taking you off of track or making you almost feel like the noise of like just outside influences, right? Because I think that's also a thing. Like, let's say you want to be, I don't know, I'm just saying, a fashion designer, right? And you see everybody else doing fashion, you see everybody else making it. I think that noise and that could be a distraction for you, right? Especially with social media, we know everything is like comparison culture, everybody's seeing everything. Or it could even be the influences of people around you, right? That could be a distraction if everyone's like, oh, why are you still doing fashion? Or you're still doing this thing, it hasn't, happened yet. Like that could also be a distraction to the goal of where you're going. So how do you, I guess, tune out, how do you take it as like, oh, is this someone just being like giving criticism? Or when do you know when it's like, okay, they're just giving criticism on maybe what you should do? Or when do you really tune it out and just say, you know what, I need to focus? Because everyone's gonna have an opinion about the way you live your life, who you marry, where you go, like all of that. So how do you really stay focused on while you're still hearing from God, but like how do you still stay true to just going on the path that God has given you when there's so many distractions and there's so many things? So like, how do you guys navigate that in your own everyday lives? Or like when you were growing up, like how did you navigate that? Because then I also think, it could come off like, oh, you're being rebellious. Right?
That too.
Right?
Yeah, it's like, so for me personally, I think, I won't say I have a rebellious personality, but I do have a tendency to question things, especially church-related things. The type of church, I'm not going to say the denomination, but the type of denomination that I grew up in, I'm like, why? I don't think that's in the Bible. Like I don't think we're supposed to be doing this. It seems a little off. So I've always been this way, and maybe it's the Holy Spirit, and maybe it's what God wants me to question culture, church culture versus what He said in His Word.
Right.
So it's like, for me, how I stay focused and stay steadfast is, to be honest, like there are many things I have a lot of questions on. It's like I do not know. So I'm like, God, if this is wrong, if this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, turn me away or scare me away, because maybe I'm just at the point yet where I don't fully trust that I know or I have that full-on discernment to know. So I'm like, God, if I'm not supposed to be doing this, if I'm not supposed to be questioning this, like please just let me know, just steer me in the right direction where I'm supposed to go. And it usually works. Like He tells me like, no, you're doing too much.
Don't do this.
You're doing this.
For me, it has been a bit different in different scenarios and stages in my life. Sometimes tuning out the noise would be moving out from a place of comfortability to another place of uncomfortability, like trusting myself. So like leaving a state, since we're in the United States, like leaving the States and going to stay in DC, depending on that scenario and the stage I was in my life. But in general, sometimes tuning out noise to me has been in the space of analyzing friendships sometimes as well. Not like to be too stuck up or like you're changing friends all the time, but like starting to analyze and define the friends that you have at the season that you're in. So like that there's certain friends that will help you in a certain area, there's certain friends that will help you to navigate a certain situation, and if you're in the space of growth, you need people who will challenge you, you need people who will push you to your boundaries and beyond your boundaries. Then you have to assess and align yourself with those kind of communities at that point or stage in life. I have seen that it has helped me to navigate the noise, because at the end of the day, we are human beings staying in the world, and people will influence you. People will say certain things that will speak into your situation at certain stages in your life. And if you're not wise enough, or if you're still growing and learning the space, you can easily be influenced by that. So like your community, who is speaking to your life, who are you bringing in to have that power to speak in that situation, can also help to tune out the noise. That's how I have seen it navigating. I'm also still growing in that, but like that has really helped me, because the moment I'm out of that space, then I'm surrounded with that drive that will push me to be better. So I've already tuned out the noise. I'll come to them again if there's need for that kind of like, you know, support. So
yeah, I think that's a really good point. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say?
Yeah. Okay. So, based on what Christina and Anna said, I just want to touch a little bit on what both of you said. All right. You said that tuning out, like maybe you're in New York and then you move to DC, right? Just to tune out.
So what I was referring to then is just because I didn't go in a deep dive of it, but like there was a moment in my life where I had so much influence with the relationship that I had with the guy I was dating then, that even though being in the same city, it was still influencing me by what people were saying. So I had to move out. So I guess it depends what the kind of noise.
I get it. It's still the same thing. I think I quite understood you. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it has nothing to do with the people. It has to do with you. Tuning out, you can move to 10 different, okay, so maybe you're in New York. The guy is in New York. The people around them are all in New York. And they decide to move to DC. So you move to Tennessee. And then they decide for some strange, weird reason, they move to Tennessee. Then you have to move to Texas. So you see, you're chased. Do you see what's going on? They are forcing you to move out from your own comfort zone. Do you understand?
Okay, so it was a bit different in the sense that for that situation, I really needed to move out of it. I don't know how
I understand, but what I'm saying is that you needed to move out, but then you needed to move out and they followed you. The people that you needed to move out from them ended up being around the same space.
Like hypothetically
speaking,
somebody.
Do you understand? I'm just a hypothetical.
Like whatever your problem was there.
Problem was here in New York. They
Okay.
followed you to DC. So these are people that you're trying to avoid.
Exactly.
So if you find them in DC, that means you have to move to Texas.
You keep moving.
Then they followed you to Texas. Then you ended up in California. Before you know, you've traveled the whole 51 states in America. Run away. All right.
Okay.
So all I'm trying to say is that to tune out distractions, it is you. You have to find you. And the finding you is not in the noise. The finding you is the quietness within your soul. If you find that quietness within your soul, it builds confidence. So what happens is that it can wither any storm. So whatever outside things that try to creep in, because you're very strong, it bounces it back. So you don't need anybody. So you can be in any space. What now has to happen is the people rather have to leave because you're too strong for them. Instead of you moving to different states, they rather have to leave.
So what are the steps that one can take to strengthen yourself?
All right. So now let me give a classic example. For instance, like you move to like a building, all right, and it's all like all these bougie, and you're always feeling very insecure.
Exactly.
Why are you feeling insecure? It is not the people, it's you. Or maybe the way they look at me, you know, the way they talk to me. What is your problem? If they have an issue, you have enough money to live in the same building. It doesn't belong to them. So if they think they're that bougie, then they should live in an island. They don't have to live here.
Right.
So you don't have to
Where
move.
there are other people.
You've had money to move in here. So if they have an issue, they should rather move. It shouldn't be your issue. So when you start feeling insecure, I don't like the way they talk to me, you have a problem. It's not them. because they don't even remember you.
Okay.
That's a really
Okay.
good point. Like,
Do
in
you
terms
understand?
of
I
tuning
get
out
you.
the noise and not being influenced by other things, because there's always gonna be that.
Gonna be.
Influence.
You can't stop them.
If you never actually build yourself to be that confident and not care, because
You
one thing I've
always-
learned is like, like even in the small level, like let's say your job, right? Let's say you want to be someone very successful.
Yeah.
You want to be the CEO. But even on your team, there are people that's gonna say a lot of things about you. So
They
if
will
you're not
test you.
able to handle it on that
You're not
level,
ready.
when you
It's
become
not gonna
CEO,
be
it
ready.
becomes 10 times
Yeah.
bigger, right?
Yeah.
So if, like, to Pastor's point, like if you're not able to wither any type of storm and be strong enough, and because the seasons are always gonna come.
They will always come.
It never stops. It's never gonna be summer
No,
all year
that's
round
true.
or winter all year round. Like it's going to, wherever you live, they're gonna get a cold part. It's gonna be a cold or not as hot season. You know what I mean? So if you are not able to build yourself, it's almost like, okay, like, oh, maybe when it comes to my job stuff, I managed to be strong. But when it comes to like
Exactly.
my marriage, that's gonna, you don't know what
And
storm is
you
gonna
are being
come.
manipulated.
You know what I mean? But when you're able to build, right, that foundation, and I think to your point, like, what are some of the steps to
Yeah,
take?
I wanted us to
to
talk
know,
about that because
right.
it's like, okay, build myself.
build
like,
myself, but how do I do it?
what
People
does- what does that
people are
look
doing
like?
this, or people are telling me, oh, you should take this job, you should do this, you should, like, how do you tune it out? Like, I think there's two parts to this, right?
Two parts to that.
There's two parts of like, okay, people's influence,
Right.
because there are people that will influence you to do this, do that. So how do you stay focused and saying like, nope, I'm gonna do this without seeming disrespectful
Exactly.
or seeming like you're rebellious, especially in African or Caribbean cultures or wherever you're from. They may see like, oh, you think you know it all, blah blah blah. But it's like, no, I'm actually just trying to focus on what God has told me to do. And then to the second point of Christina's point, like just tuning out the distractions and building yourself to be strong. That no matter what comes, you're just able to focus. Because it may also bother you to a certain degree.
Let me say
How do
this.
you-
Okay. Now, look at it this way.
I know that was a lot,
Most of the
but-
times,
No.
it has to be a challenge,
Yeah.
and you have to allow yourself to go through the challenge to become. If you run away from it, you will never have any experience.
So maybe let me clarify what I was.
No,
trying to
you.
highlight-
It's a very
yours.
good.
No,
No.
no,
Don't
just
take it
say
personal.
general.
It's very good for other people to understand this. So don't take it for you.
That
It's
could be a
very-
scenario.
A scenario
Okay.
we're using.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that take everything as a challenge. Now, when David saw Goliath, if he had not stood up, he would never in a million years ever thought he could kill
Yeah,
Goliath.
no.
Because the Goliath had never defeated.
Yes, he
he's
had
never been
never
defeated.
been
Defeated. So even with that track record, obviously when you come, your confidence level has to drop.
Yes, you
It's like
feel down.
really, look at
Like,
me.
how
I don't
can I
have.
do it?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So all I'm trying to tell us is that you see, it is the confidence that allows you to face your opponent. Confidence will never look. Let's say all of us sitting here.
Yes.
You all have careers. Maybe I'm a cleaner. Okay? Who cares? You are the CEO of this company. She's the CEO. I'm a cleaner. But remember, if I don't clean your office, you can never have that space.
Okay.
So as much as you're the CEO, you need me. So this is my confidence level. So if I don't stand up to my confidence, that you know what, she's a CEO, so what?
Yeah.
I'm also a cleaner. I'm not going to disrespect you. But if I don't clean your office,
You
you
won't
can
stay
never
in
have
there.
that space. So even though you're a CEO, I'm a cleaner in my own space. I come dressed up.
So be
I get paid.
confident.
Be confident in every area of your life. Don't allow anyone to intimidate you. Don't be influenced by anyone.
So do you think like sometimes that could be as a result of maybe less investing in yourself? Because I know that there's certain people who just want these things. They want to be the
Right.
David that
Right.
will kill the Goliath.
They
But
will.
then they don't have they have not done the inner assessment to be comfortable,
is
to know
what-
who they are. So they're just jumping in.
Jump
there.
in. And that is why I said that. Every other look, outside of church, people get trained. In the medical field, you get trained. In every area of our lives, we get trained. The only place we don't get trained is the church.
Yeah.
So they don't know themselves. They are just there. All they've been trained, pray, bind, do this, do that. So it becomes like you're not human any longer. So when you come to the world, they find you weird. It shouldn't be so. Do you understand? So when they are talking about confidence and other things, you are quoting scriptures.
You
Who
don't
wants to hear
relate.
those scriptures? You don't relate. So we need to be trained. All right? Look, maybe the next episode, I want us to talk about the
Yeah.
mind.
I think we should
How
do
to
that in the
dive
next
into
episode.
the mind and understand.
Exactly.
Look, we are so
That's the
powerful that you can never be intimidated by anyone.
That's the
You
one.
are that strong.
That's the one.
You carry God. So why do you have to let somebody intimidate
I
you?
feel like
When they
Next
Look,
episode.
wait. Before we wrap, I know, and I feel like Anna got something
Anna
to
has
say.
something she
And then
wants
we're
to
gonna do a
say.
part two because I know
Okay.
this Pastor's on fire.
So I don't know if we should do it this episode
Yes,
or
let's-
save it for the next one, because it's like, as Pastor Anna is speaking, like everything she's saying is what I try to walk and practice like every
Wow.
single day.
Okay.
Over the last, probably the last year,
Mhm.
I run toward things that are difficult.
Mm.
I don't run away as like, oh no, I don't
Yeah,
think I
like
can do
you
it.
shy
No,
away from
it's
it.
a challenge, and I'll run toward it because it builds your endurance muscle.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, I
It's-
think
yes.
I
Wait,
think we're
let's
gonna
keep-
keep this for
okay.
the next-
Shout
let's
out.
keep this for the next episode.
Yes,
And I hope
part
you have
two.
stayed in. Like, just know yourself, be confident in who you are, get to know who you are in the space, and be confident. I think that would help you to tune out the noise. We talked about not running away from
Yes.
problems, but sticking there and seeing them through, and just like being confident in yourself. I think that can help you to tune out the noise. So stay tuned, because we're coming up with the next episode and we'll talk more on this. You don't want to miss it. See you next time. Bye.